Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover the T1 D Plus series that just ended and then preview tomorrow's schedule in the LCK LCS. Yes, the Roundup's coming out a lot earlier today. This is my one day off this week. Predictions 260-126. I did pick T1 to win. So they win 3-1. Zeus was my MVP, 12-7, 14, 27% of damage. Owner, 4-5, 26. Deft, 8, 11, 14, 32% of damage in the loss. These stats, and the way this series transpired, thinking about the sneak peek yesterday, okay? Guma had 26% of T1's damage. Deft had 40%. And I was like, clearly, T1, clearly D+, it was the bot lane that carried. And then the top side of the rift really struggled, and even in damage results, Zeus and Owner had a ton more than Kana and Canyon, especially Owner and Canyon. There was a big diffy there. I think Owner may have had twice as much DPM as Canyon in the 4 games they had played. And then we look at today's series, and Zeus got ahead of Kana and made Kana look pretty bad. Zeus got Aatrox, I think, 3 out of the 4 games and looked very good. One of his better champions. In Game 4, he was excellent. Owner outpacing Canyon. Canyon has struggled for a little while now. Last year, he struggled in spring and then turned it up as we got to Worlds, and maybe that'll happen again. Mid lane, Faker and Showmaker, I mean, both kind of inting their faces off. Showmaker, in Game 4, with everything on the line, had nearly a 100 CS lead over Faker and couldn't do anything with it. And at that point, you say to yourself, well, Faker's playing Annie, and he's flash stunning with Tibbers. And then we have Showmaker on Jace, who's just dying. He's diving and dying. He's not dealing damage. So at that point, the Facilitator is the better of the two because he's actually doing something. Like, despite not having the gold, he is finding ways to be impactful, where Showmaker was not. So that mid lane dichotomy, if you will, there was really interesting because in top lane was the opposite. Zeus had like an 80-85 CS lead over Kana, finding impact where Kana was not. And then in the bot side of the rift, I mean, Deft and Kellen were doing well in lane against Zeus, against Guma and Keria throughout this series, in my opinion. I thought Guma really took a backseat as well as Keria. Keria has not been as good as I would have liked this year. This split. Now, LCK All Pros will come out either today or tomorrow. LCS and LCK will be recorded today. I don't know which one I'll put out today and which one I'll put out tomorrow. But regardless, Kellen got the better of them. I mean, D+ have a lot of issues. Swapping out supports over the last month. Swapping out coaches back and forth for the last couple weeks. It's not a good situation. T1 are better than their record. Faker is back. The team is better than it was when Poby was in the lineup. Does that mean T1 are the best team in the world? No, because there were struggles when Faker was playing. However, if they continue to play in this way, Zeus on carries, Faker on facilitators, that is reminiscent of KT. And that's something that can jive. However, KT's bot lane is finding more impact than T1's. D+ did find a way to take a game. Game 2, if I recall, was theirs. They dominated, took a few Drakes, and just kind of slowly beat them. This was a slow LCK Classic. D+ will do this from time to time, where they play low-kill games. I mean, we look here, and yesterday we think the 3-game series of HLE DRX had more kills than the 4-game series of T1 D+. So, yeah. In the end, top side of the rift was T1 favored going into it between the last 4 matchups teams had, and that came through again this morning. Preview T1 KT. So KT 17-1, T1 9-9, not Thunder Talk. Played 4 times. KT won all 4 games. We did not. So I took all 4 games, did the KDAs and the damage to find out who dealt the most damage. Mid lane, I was not going to cite in here outside of just trying to find out the DPM results to find out percentages, because obviously Poby and Faker, very different situations. Aiming in the 4 games went 41 kills, 3 deaths, 24 assists, 35% of damage. Gumayushi, 6, 16, and 9 for 30% of damage. So, you know, bot lane being the bulk of the damage for both sides, but very different stat lines there. I mean, that's a diffy. KT dominated T1 in the 4 games they played. Didn't matter if it was Faker or Poby. Tomorrow will be quite a situation. Can KT get over the hump? Can they continue to perform at a high level? You know, this is about the time historically where KT fall off a cliff. So, we'll see. LCS preview. Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses. TL are 10 and 8. EG 13 and 5. EG won both times. First time, TL had Harry in mid. Second time, EG had Shaden in the jungle. They had Armeo in the first one. So, in this, I compared tops and then bots and supports, adding in the damage for jungle mid just to get the damage percentages right. For EG, JoJo did deal the most damage, but for comparison's sake, I went with the next highest damage, and that was Revenge, who went 12, 2, and 16 in the 2 games for 24% of damage. Summit went 3, 11, 4, 26% of damage in the loss. So when we think of this matchup, we think of Summit being way better than Revenge, and Summit is probably better than Revenge, but in these 2 games, Summit dying quite a bit, 5 and 6 times, and Revenge finding ways to not die, have impact, deal quite a bit of damage. Now, TL had a more even damage spread when looking at it. Even Core JJ had a significant amount of damage relative to Isla. But EG, Unforgiven, I mean, JoJo was the guy dealing a ton of damage. Unforgiven went deathless, I think. So this one, I think, will be pretty close, much closer than this series. And there are just so many variables. Different mid for TL. Which jungler plays for EG? Does Summit show up in the mid to late game and actually get kills instead of just dealing damage? We'll see. But that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.